Good evening. Welcome to BBC Wales Today, where tonight we look back at the life of the Duke of Edinburgh and the legacy he leaves here in Wales. Prince Philip was 99, 2 months short of his 100th birthday. He was the longest-serving consort in British history and carried out decades of royal duties, including many visits to Wales, until his retirement from public engagements 4 years ago. Our correspondent Hugh Thomas now with reaction to the news.
This was the Duke of Edinburgh's final visit to Wales 5 years ago. He accompanied the Queen to open a new research centre at Cardiff University shortly before he retired from public life. Today, flags in the city were lowered to half-mast to remember Prince Philip for his service to the country and his support for the Queen.
It is with great sadness that we learn today of the death of His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Throughout his long life, Prince Philip served with selfless devotion and a remarkable generosity of spirit. On behalf of the Welsh Government and people in all parts of Wales, I offer our deepest condolences to Her Majesty the Queen, Her Majesty's children and their families on this sad occasion. The Duke of Edinburgh will be sorely missed by the many Welsh organisations that he supported as patron or president over so many decades of service.
Some books of condolence have been made available to sign so people can leave their own messages in remembrance of the Duke. This book is available for staff and students to pay their respects at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff. There will be other books across Wales, but because of the pandemic, many more tributes will be paid online. In his many visits to Wales, the Duke of Edinburgh would support causes and organisations close to his heart. More often, though, he would be here to support the Queen and was at her side on official occasions, including state openings of the Senedd. The Duke believed the monarchy had to modernise to survive. This approach was no more apparent than when he joined rescue workers at Aberfan, bringing the nation's sympathy to the town after the disaster of 1966.
In one household, he actually offered the parents to make a cup of tea for them because they could see they were so visibly upset.
Jeff Edwards was 8 years old when he was rescued and has met both Prince Philip and the Queen to discuss the tragedy.
He had great empathy with the parents who had lost children, but he was also interested in the future of those people who had survived. And I think he wanted to give us direction in terms of improving our aspirations, in terms of what we should be doing now, in as much as we're so lucky to survive.
In 2012, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee brought the royal couple to the Glanusk estate near Crickhowell, where Prince Philip is fondly remembered today.
He didn't suffer fools greatly and had, as I say, an enormous sense of fun and humour, but was always interested, for instance, in Wales, if he met the young people, and because of his Duke of Edinburgh award scheme, there are so many young people, both past and present, here in Wales, who have benefited from that organisation tremendously.
Flags across Wales are at half-mast to remember Prince Philip, and the Archbishop of Wales has given his own tribute.
He's a great figure, a man with a sense of duty, responsibility, a man who sensed that people had a great potential and that he would seek to try and draw that potential out in so many different ways. Someone who was ahead of his time in so many ways, in relation to things such as conservation of the planet and human rights and justice and so on and so forth.
The Duke's legacy in Wales is one of support for the organisations that he backed and support for the Queen on their many visits together.
Our correspondent Hugh Thomas reporting there. In a moment, we'll have the latest from our correspondents at Cardiff Castle and outside Windsor. But first, let's cross to the newsroom to hear from our political editor, Felicity Evans. Fliss.
Well, the parties have suspended campaigning in the Senedd elections as a mark of respect. Door knocking was about to begin for that campaign on Monday as canvassing restrictions related to COVID were being relaxed. It's not the first time that we've seen an election campaign suspended because of the death of a national figure in Wales. Back in the general election campaign of 2017, the former First Minister Rhodri Morgan died, and parties then paused campaigning for one day. Now, obviously, in this case, the Duke of Edinburgh is a senior member of the royal family, and a period of mourning has been declared across the United Kingdom. So the parties will have to decide when they feel it is appropriate to resume campaigning. But on Monday, the Senedd is being recalled so that members can pay their respects. The presiding officer of the Senedd, Elin Jones, issued a statement earlier in which she praised the Duke's many years of public service, as did the Welsh Secretary Simon Hart, who said he leaves a remarkable legacy, including the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. And Plaid Cymru leader Adam Price highlighted that too. He said many young people in Wales will have benefited from that scheme over the last 6 decades. The Welsh Conservative Senedd leader Andrew R.T. Davies praised Prince Philip's career in the Royal Navy and his support for Her Majesty the Queen. And the Welsh Liberal Democrat leader Jane Dodds said he gave a lifetime of duty and service not only to the Queen but also to our country.
Our political editor Felicity Evans, thank you very much. Well, now let's cross to our correspondent Kemlyn Davis, who's outside Windsor Castle for us tonight. And Kemlyn, Windsor Castle is where Prince Philip passed away earlier today. People may have gathered there to pay their respects, but these are not normal times.
That's right, and because of the pandemic, people have been urged not to gather at the castle. Even so, throughout the afternoon, well-wishers have been steadily turning up to pay their respects and to lay flowers and so on, because the castle here is at the heart of the local community. It's in the centre of town, and people do feel a real close connection with the royal family. In recent years, of course, they've been able to come out to celebrate happy events, royal weddings and so on, but today the atmosphere is much more sombre, and around the town flags have been lowered to half-mast. But the flag on Windsor Castle itself hasn't been lowered, and that's because it's the royal standard, showing that the Queen is in residence, as she has been for most of the past year, shielding during the pandemic with her husband.
And Kemlyn, preparations now for the funeral, which we also know will take place at Windsor.
Yes, that's right. Prince Philip's body will rest here until the funeral, which we know will take place here at Windsor Castle in St George's Chapel. Now, people are already being urged not to turn up for that funeral due to the pandemic. We know that arrangements have had to be tweaked because of the restrictions in place. More details about that will be announced in due course.
Our correspondent Kemlyn Davis at Windsor Castle, thank you very much. Well, the Duke of Edinburgh made plenty of connections in Wales over the years, particularly through sport. He's patron of many sporting organisations, but is also known to thousands of young people and their families through the Duke of Edinburgh's award. Nicola Smith has been taking a look at what a difference he's made to lives here.
It's an encounter Alun Wyn Jones remembers well, the day he was presented with a gold award by the Duke of Edinburgh. He wasn't a Grand Slam winning rugby captain back then, but he believes what he learned whilst taking part in the scheme as a teenager at Llandovery College has made a difference to his career. Now he's a Welsh ambassador.
Since I've been involved in a sort of ambassadorial role, I've seen the benefits for other people. Well, actually, I benefited from it there, whether it be, like I say, life skills, independence, self-awareness. I think everybody who will have achieved an award, or whether it be bronze, silver or gold, will have an element of passion that he's had for the award itself. And the effect and the thousands and thousands of people that have done the award and affected other people through doing it, that'll be an everlasting legacy for the Duke and the award itself.
What do you do first, breath or compressions? Compressions. Perfect. How many?
At Ysgol Gyfun Gymraeg Ystalyfera in the Swansea Valley, a first aid session, preparation for their Duke of Edinburgh expedition. Alongside that, these teenagers also volunteer, learn a new skill and take part in physical activity. 14-year-olds Fionn and Osian believe it is making a difference to their lives.
I thought it would be something new to do, and it's something that a lot of people have benefited from in the past. It's a way to challenge yourself, really, and it's a way that you can work on what you already know and become more confident in what you're doing.
It's helpful to get you doing things that you might not have thought about doing before. Great way to meet new people, and you might find something new that you enjoy.
It's giving them the skill set to go on to education or an apprenticeship or into the world of work that is key for DFE, and that's what's important over the last 60 years, that we've stayed true to those core principles. Yes, young people have evolved and their interests have evolved, but DFE has stayed true to that.
So through this scheme and his patronage of many organisations, his legacy runs through generations. He was patron here at the Cardiff and County Club for more than 65 years, and it was in this room in March 2016 that he attended a lunch to celebrate its 150th anniversary.
He was very friendly. The tie that I'm wearing today, it was one of our anniversary ties, and we sent one to him prior to the visit, and he chose to wear it on the visit. As I say, he was friendly with everybody that he met, and he treated everybody exactly the same. He will be well remembered in the club, and there'll be many glasses raised to toast him and his longevity and everything he achieved during his life.
He was also a patron of the Welsh Football League, Cricket Wales, and the Royal Welsh Yacht Club, to name just a few.
Come on, trot on.
But his support extended to perhaps less well-known sports too, and he is credited with bringing carriage driving to the UK. Rowena Moyes runs the South Wales Carriage Driving Centre in Swansea. She's dedicated her life to the sport and says that's all down to Prince Philip. Like her, he'd developed a passion for it, and he helped raise its profile by introducing the event to the Royal Windsor Horse Show.
Without him starting it up, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. You know, I've spent my life going to big competitions and competing, you know, I think all I do is a direct result from his passion of bringing carriage driving to this country.
The Duke of Edinburgh had a passion for agriculture and the countryside too, and these cows, on a farm in Ceredigion, have a very royal connection. They're all descendants of the Queen's herd, which was bought by Phil Reid more than a decade ago. And one day not long after, Prince Philip flew to West Wales to see how the herd was getting along.
Well, it was a privilege to have him on the yard here, you know, and not that, you could talk to him like you and me are talking here now, really down to earth, you know. You wouldn't think he was the Duke, you know. He was sitting on the kitchen table here, drinking tea and eating scones and, you know, saying things that happen, you know, like a daily farm, you know, things that go wrong and things. And, no, he's very, very chattable bloke.
A man who made an impact here in so many different ways.
Nicola Smith reporting. Well, let's go to Cardiff Castle now, where the flag is flying at half-mast. Our correspondent Hugh Thomas is there. And Hugh, Cardiff Castle, the scene of many royal visits and occasions over the years, and it's going to be a focal point as the Duke is remembered in the coming days.
Cardiff Castle is a focal point. The flag on the Norman Keep behind me was lowered to half-mast at the news of the death of the Duke of Edinburgh. And it has been the scene of many royal visits over the years. It's also where birthday salutes have been fired in honour of the Duke of Edinburgh in previous years too. Tonight, though, the castle is empty. There are no people, there are no flowers at the gates, and that is at the request of the palace, who've asked people not to gather because of the pandemic regulations. And it means that across Wales this evening, those individuals, those organisations who have benefited from the support of the Duke of Edinburgh over the years will be remembering that in their own way. They will have seen him come here over the years, made that extra special connection indeed with the people of Aberfan in 1966, as we heard a little earlier on, but also over the years supporting those causes in the countryside around conservation, around cattle that he has shown such a passion for as well. He will be missed here this evening and across Wales, but also as among the tributes to him today, expressions of sympathy for the Queen, who was with him so many times on their visits to Wales.
Hugh, thank you very much. Our correspondent Hugh Thomas there, and we'll reflect on the Duke's contribution to Welsh life a little later in the programme. First, though, a look at the day's other news. And gyms will be allowed to reopen in Wales on the 3rd of May, a week earlier than planned. It follows an announcement from the Welsh Government. There are also new dates on the opening of outdoor wedding venues and for meeting another household indoors. Ministers say a drop in COVID cases has prompted the changes. Here's Jordan Davis.
A raft of freedoms have been brought forward in Wales because of a rapid drop in new coronavirus cases. It means Anna can open her women's gym in Barry early. As a business owner, she says this has been the worst year of her life. But she says that extra week is important to her members.
What it will do is make a massive difference to women that see this place as their safe haven, you know, so they can come back here and feel safe and work out in a safe space, because a lot of the ladies come from broken homes, abusive homes, and they need this. This is their respite from that.
So let's take a closer look at the changes. After originally planned for May the 3rd, organised outdoor activities and outdoor wedding ceremonies can restart from April the 26th. Gyms and leisure centres can reopen the following week, and 2 households will be able to mix indoors again. Things are reopening early in Wales because case rates continue to fall. For many, it's a semblance of normality, but it's also a test. Can things reopen without case rates rising? And after a cold Welsh winter, many of us will be looking forward to being able to meet friends and family indoors.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Including Delith, who lives alone in Cardiff.
Obviously, I've been able to bubble as a single person household, but it does open up the opportunity to be able to see more of my family, which is really good because my bubble at the moment is in England. And it would be nice to be able to see my family that are more local to me in Wales as well. So really excited about that.
And you can cross this again without a good reason. All restrictions on travel in and out of Wales are lifted.
This is one of our cottages, Poppy Cottage.
Lorraine, a holiday let owner, says tourists from outside Wales will boost her business.
We're really looking forward to welcoming all the visitors back again. You know, we meet some really nice, you know, lovely people, very nice people from all around the country, and even maybe one day from abroad again.
Of course, any changes planned for after May the 6th could depend on the outcome of the Senedd elections and which party is in power. Opposition parties have welcomed the changes, but the Welsh Conservatives and Plaid Cymru have called for gyms to be reopened even sooner. The Welsh Liberal Democrats say it's important that people stick to the rules. For many people, these changes will be welcome news, a return to the fixtures of our old lives. But they're steps that will likely be closely monitored.
Jordan Davis there. Well, while we need to wait a little longer for gyms and leisure centres to reopen, from Monday we can go shopping again when all non-essential stores can open. Rhiannon Wilkins has been following how the retail sector has been preparing ahead of next week.
Shopkeepers across the country are preparing for a big day when this sign can change to this one. On Monday, this toy shop in Conwy, like all non-essential retailers in Wales, can finally welcome customers through their doors once more. And with self-contained accommodation also able to welcome visitors from elsewhere in the UK next week, it's a step in the right direction for this business.
We've kind of scraped by, and you know, obviously it hasn't been anywhere near as good as it would normally be. A lot of our business relies on the tourism trading here in Conwy, and obviously we haven't had any of that, so you know that's affected it a lot.
In South Wales, Griffin Books in Penarth has relied on digital sales since the end of last year.
We've transformed ourselves into an online business during this time, but it's not the same as having people come in, being able to show them books, have them browse the shelves, and have that customer contact that we've really been missing.
Social distancing measures and safety procedures will need to be followed in all shops. And safety is at the forefront of this team's mind. At 5 o'clock every morning they start work, scrubbing the streets and removing graffiti in Cardiff city centre. They're trying to keep us as safe as possible before all high street shops reopen. Peter and Rose are grateful not everyone takes their hard work for granted. So Peter, how does it make you feel when you get strangers or members of the public coming up to you and thanking you for the work that you've been doing?
How can I put it? I feel over the moon. I do absolutely feel over the moon when people come up and say that, you know, you've done a nice job and keep up the good work.
They come into a clean, fresh, disinfected area. It's happy days all round.
The organisation representing retail say they welcome next week's changes, but are disappointed it doesn't come hand in hand with a reopening of outdoor hospitality.
But there's cautious optimism there. We know there are going to be challenges ahead, and it's not just an issue about retail. We know that hospitality being shut, for example, will have an impact on footfall. It's part of that wider high street ecosystem. So whilst we're super excited, we're optimistic but cautious as well.
It'll be the 26th of April before outdoor hospitality reopens. Another key date in the road out of lockdown.
6 new deaths of people with coronavirus have been reported by Public Health Wales, as well as 82 new confirmed cases. Turning now to vaccinations, and more than 1.5 million people have received their first dose of the vaccine, and more than 484,000 have received the full course of 2 jabs. Some football for you, and Wales women are in action this evening in what is Gemma Granger's first match as national team manager. They're up against Canada in a friendly at Cardiff's Leckwith Stadium, with the score currently at 1-0 to the Canadians. Deanne Rose with the goal. Wales next face Denmark in another friendly on Tuesday. Let's return now to the death of the Duke of Edinburgh. As the longest-serving consort in British history, the Duke made many visits to Wales, accompanying the Queen, also supporting various organisations here. Jennifer Jones looks back now at the legacy he leaves in Wales.
Protocol dictated that he walk 2 paces behind the sovereign, supporting the Queen on visits to Wales. From the opening of Welsh institutions like the National Assembly to entertaining dignitaries and sports stars. But Prince Philip was also keen to carve out an independent role for himself like no other royal consort. On the morning of his wedding to Princess Elizabeth in 1947, his future father-in-law, the King, gave him the title he was best known by, Duke of Edinburgh. But on that day, he also became the Earl of Meirionnydd, creating one of his many ties to Wales. Like several of his children and grandchildren, the Duke was a military man. A career in the Navy meant he didn't have a degree, but this didn't stop him becoming the Chancellor of the University of Wales in 1949.
His first duty is to award Princess Elizabeth a doctorate of music.
After the coronation, Philip had to pledge allegiance to his wife, but it became clear he would not be bound by centuries of tradition. On the royal couple's 1955 tour of Wales, he took a supporting role during official engagements. But away from the formalities, there was time to relax with their children.
The Duke of Cornwall had a speedboat trip with his father at the wheel. They flashed to and fro among the boats, while the Queen watched from the Britannia.
Fit and active for most of his long life, the Duke was on hand when the 1958 Empire and Commonwealth Games were held in Cardiff, thrusting Wales into the spotlight. It was very much a supporting role for him at the investiture of the Prince of Wales in 1969. But behind the scenes, he was guiding his son, as the decision was made for Prince Charles to learn Welsh at Aberystwyth.
I find it rather difficult to realise that I've been Chancellor of the University of Wales for 25 years. But I do know that it has been long enough to begin to appreciate some of the qualities of life in the Principality, which are so much cherished by Welshmen. And this really was one of the reasons why I encouraged my son to spend at least part of his time as a student here in Aberystwyth.
For many, his legacy is the award ceremony he set up in his name. It helped thousands of young people across Wales and the world, the emphasis on physical challenges, service to the community, and personal development. In his later years, the Duke was a constant support to the Queen during challenging periods. As time passed, they preferred to carry out royal engagements together before his retirement in 2017. For Prince Philip, duty and service were the cornerstone of the monarchy.
Jennifer Jones on the legacy in Wales of the Duke of Edinburgh, who's died aged 99. Time now for the weather with Benaz.
Good evening. A cold weather front brought with it quite a bit of cloud today and some rain. That is clearing tonight, and the weekend is looking a bit more settled. Thanks to high pressure, we can look forward to some sunshine, just the odd isolated shower, but you will need those extra layers if you're heading out, and it is going to be rather chilly. So here's the radar from earlier showing the extent of the cold front, which brought the rain initially into North Wales. It's been sinking southwards through the day, showery ahead of it as well, with the potential for some snow on higher ground. As we head on into tonight, this front will continue to clear. So clear skies developing into early hours of tomorrow morning underneath the clear skies and with the lighter winds as well. So we'll see widespread frost forming into early hours of tomorrow morning. Temperatures down to -4 Celsius. The wind's coming from a northerly direction, so it's still pretty cold as we head into Saturday. So tomorrow we've got high pressure building, so that will settle things down. Low pressure to the south. This weather front might just bring a little bit of cloud into southeast Wales later on tomorrow afternoon. But first thing tomorrow morning, it's a cold and frosty start. We've got some sunshine on offer. As we go through the day, we'll hang on to that sunshine, but there are a few showers lurking around. Those showers will be isolated. If you catch one, they could be wintry, with the temperatures tomorrow up to about 11 Celsius. We've got light to moderate northerly winds making it feel cold. So if you are heading out in the sunshine, do take some layers with you. By the time we get into tomorrow night, we've got clear skies, again light winds, so widespread frost forming into early hours of Sunday morning. Some wintry showers just coming into eastern counties, but I think most of us getting away with another dry and cold night. Temperatures down to about -2 Celsius. By Sunday, very little change. It's still chilly. We've got some sunshine on offer, but also the risk of 1 or 2 isolated showers. Most of us, yet again, getting away with dry conditions. Temperatures up to about 10 Celsius. But by Monday, we'll start to feel a little bit milder. So we're into a westerly at this point. There'll be some sunshine on offer, variable amounts of cloud as we go through the day, and a few isolated showers with the temperatures up to about 12 Celsius. And the temperatures will continue to creep up next week. By Tuesday, we are up to 13 Celsius. The winds southwesterly, some sunshine on offer. A lot of dry weather to come next week. And as you can see, the temperatures creeping up as we head towards next weekend. A lot of dry weather after a rather chilly weekend this weekend. Bye for now.
And that is Wales Today, on the day Buckingham Palace confirmed the death of the Duke of Edinburgh. The Duke supported the Queen on numerous visits to Wales. In 1949, he became Chancellor of the University of Wales. He attended the 1959 Empire and Commonwealth Games when they were held in Cardiff. And he joined rescue workers after the disaster in Aberfan in 1966. He's inspired generations of young people here through the Duke of Edinburgh's award. As flags fly at half-mast at landmarks across the country, the First Minister, Mark Drakeford, said Prince Philip served with a selfless devotion and a remarkable generosity of spirit. He will be sorely missed by the many Welsh organisations that he supported as patron or president over so many decades of service.